South Stand shortly. We've got polo shirts, we've got bobble hats, we've got badges, we've got beanies, we've got all sorts of stuff. We're always open to suggestions as well. So if you want your team sheets, you want your polo shirts, come and see us under the East Stand, and we're coming to the South Stand soon. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Thank you very much.
Glory shone around upon FC Halifax town. Yeah!
Evening, everybody, and welcome back to another edition to the Talking Shaymen Podcast. And tonight we are previewing our game versus Notts County. And I'm pleased to be joined by Rob Brown and Paul Mace. Paul currently has his own podcast called the Magpie Circle Podcast. If you'd like to go see him there. Paul, how are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you. All the better for 3 points at the weekend, eh?
Yeah, obviously you had that 2-0 win over Eastleigh. You've been on quite good form, haven't you, recently? Obviously, you defeated us in the in the FA Trophy, and before that, you battered Barnet, didn't you, on that Tuesday night?
Yeah, it's looking not too bad. We had a bit of a blip before that. We've had a few issues with postponed games and all the rest of it, but back to normal at the moment. A little bit just outside the playoffs, hoping to get back into those as quickly as possible. And it's all looking rather tight, isn't it? And I mean, I think the first thing I would say is I don't want to tempt too much fate, but for any of your supporters looking to come down on Tuesday night, don't worry too much about the weather. Our pitch is in very good condition. It was absolutely fine on Saturday, and we would not be anticipating any problems for Tuesday evening for anyone that's coming down from Halifax.
Well, that's great to hear, obviously, because we all know Notts County's pitch is probably one of the best pitches in this league. They're a proper football league club traditionally, aren't they?
Well, we were until about 2017, 2018. Obviously, the last 3 years, we found ourselves in the National League, and I suspect a lot of us, myself included, are still probably finding it a little bit difficult to come to terms with at the minute. But in terms, as you say, Luke, of the infrastructure of the club, playing surface, backroom staff, ground staff, those sorts of things, we still have very much a football league mentality, staffing and approach to the way that we do things.
Has it surprised you, Paul? Has it surprised you the last few years about the quality in the National League?
I think that the time at which we have been relegated has kind of coincided with an acceleration of established football league clubs. You know, if you're looking at Chesterfield, who find themselves down here for the first time, like ourselves, you're seeing other clubs being relegated. And the clubs that are going up are not necessarily the ones that you would expect to be. We lost in our first season down here to Harrogate. And I guess a lot of neutrals would have thought that because of the stature and size of the club, we would have won that game. We didn't. Harrogate went up. Last season, Barrow went up after a long hiatus out of the Football League. And although Stockport are capturing a lot of the headlines at the minute, along with Chesterfield, you know, you've got to say Boreham Wood are in a very good position. So, yeah, I think in answer to your question, Rob, the standard is a lot higher. There are more traditional football league clubs in the league, and there are some of those clubs that are spending more money than most clubs in League One and League Two. Wrexham being one of those, although Stockport have invested quite heavily as well in the last 18 months. Yeah,
it's consistency being a problem since Notts County have come down, because you get them runs, don't they, in the season where they go 10 unbeaten, and you're thinking, now Notts County are definitely going to go up. And they always seem to have that patch in the season where they start to drop off and they might lose 1 or 2 games, and the fans seem to be thinking, oh, another season in this league. What are your thoughts on that?
I think everyone chases consistency, and everybody says, you know, we're not consistent enough. And, you know, and I'm sure Stockport will have said that at some point this season, as will Chesterfield, as will Boreham Wood even. I think if you look at Stockport's recent run, or since Dave Challoner arrived, it's something like 13 wins in 15 games. which is absolutely phenomenal. Ironically, we contributed or helped Stockport bring in Mr. Challoner because they came to our place probably October time. Yeah, October-ish. We beat them quite easily. They didn't look a good team. Their manager got the sack. At that point, they'd already invested a lot of money, and clearly their fan base were very disenchanted. And it does show you that if you can get the right manager, a lot of people will say your entire preparation, background work is completely rubbish. You change manager, you get the right manager, and all of a sudden, everything in the garden is rosy again. We this season have kind of got 4, 5, 6 wins going, but we've not hit that 8, 9, 10 mark, which I think whoever is going to win the league will have to reproduce. And clearly, at the minute, Stockport are the team that are producing that.
Now, what are your thoughts then? Like moving on to a bit about managerial, etc. Now, you had Neil Hardley, didn't you, last season, and then Ian Birchall's come in. What's your thoughts on Ian Birchall as a manager then?
Yeah, I mean, I think when Ian came in, not too many people knew a great deal about him. In many respects, you would say it was quite an unusual appointment. You know, he'd not managed in England before. He'd managed in Norway and Sweden. I think you would say he's a football purist. He has a very definite football philosophy. I think you can say with 99.9% certainty in every National League game that we play, we will have the majority of possession. That's kind of like taken as read. It's a passing game. It's brought out, you know, we're kind of like a poor man's Manchester City passing, you know, keeping the ball in the 6-yard box, passing it around, keep ball, that sort of thing. And it's pleasing on the eye. It doesn't, I guess you would say, always lead to such a convincing level of percentage of wins. Stockport under Dave Challoner changed their style of play, and that style of play has delivered the results that you need to go up. And of course, Dave achieved that last season, playing in a certain way, which he's replicating at Stockport. I think when it comes, we just had the Winter Olympics, when it comes to artistic impression and merit marks and all of that, then I think we will probably be top of the league. But of course, it's not about that, is it? You know, it's about accumulating points. And we do tend to have 1 or 2 sticky spells in a season where we lose a couple, lose 2 out of 3, that sort of thing. We had one of those a month ago. We've bounced back from it, but no superiority complexes. We're 9th, 8th, 7th, and have been for about 5-6 weeks now, because that's where we deserve to be. We hope, with games in hand and games against teams in the top 7 or 8 in the table, that we can make up a bit of lost ground. But ultimately, the team that gets promoted is the best team in the division, irrespective of how you set your team up and how you play.
So do you feel that it's possible for Notts County still to finish top, Paul, given the games in hand you've got?
Look, I think it is possible. I think, and I'm sure it's the same with Halifax. You have a week or two when results go your way. Yeah, you win, opposition lose, and you think, oh, right, we win that, and oh, right, we're in. And then you have another 2 games where you lose and they win, and you think to yourself, oh, blimey, it's completely gone now. Look, we still have an awful lot of points to play for, an awful lot of games to play, all of the teams in the top. So I think it's achievable. Yeah. I think you would have to say Stockport, with the run that they are on at the minute, would be favourites. But pressure does a lot of things to a lot of people, doesn't it? You know, it's one thing winning 12, 13, 14 when you're coming from a little way back. It's another when you are top dog and people are shooting at you week in, week out, and you kind of realise in the last month or 2 of the season just what the stakes are that you're playing for.
The dynamic of the league has changed, hasn't it, over the past couple of seasons? Now, I remember a couple of seasons when we were here thinking, oh, we need to get back to the Football League. We personally feel we belong there. And then come crashing down, you've got likes of Notts County, Stockport, Chesterfield. There's some massive clubs in this league. Grimsby, Southend, Wrexham. There's some huge clubs, aren't there, in this league?
Yeah, and I think we spoke about it earlier in the show. It is likely that these clubs that would historically have been Football League clubs for virtually their entire existence, there's going to be more of them in the National League. If you are a Scunthorpe fan, for instance, at the minute, it is not looking good. It is, they've not been in the National League. Oldham are having a bit of a fist of it at the minute, aren't they? It's possible Barrow could come back down. But you'd probably say more likely than not, 2 established Football League clubs will join the National League next season. And I think this is going to be a pattern that is going to continue to repeat itself. And you are more likely, I said, the best chance Notts County had of getting back into the Football League was the first season. The second best chance we've had was the second season. Now is the third best. If we don't go up this season, next year will undoubtedly be the hardest. And so it goes on. Every year you're out the Football League, it just gets a little bit harder, doesn't it?
Yeah. I generally actually predicted Notts County to win the league at the start of the season. And it
very good. Very good. We like
I think
that.
A lot of people were expecting Wrexham, and well, it's not turned out like that this season. I think Rob, didn't you say Chesterfield?
I can't remember, Luke, to be honest. I honestly said that Stockport will finish outside the playoff places, though. Yeah. So, we'll see. It's all very close, isn't it?
Yeah, it is close. And there's always a surprise package. Like, you've got us, for example. You've got Bromley. There's a lot of smaller sides wanting to try get back to the Football League, like ourselves. And even Bromley, obviously, they're wanting to get into the Football League for the first time, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think there's normally one team that goes completely under the radar. Obviously, Boreham Wood have had a very, very good FA Cup run, quite remarkable, really. And with the games they have in hand, they're very handily placed. Andy Woodman turned down Gillingham to stay with Bromley. That would suggest that he thinks he's got half a chance of getting Bromley promoted. Otherwise, I would have thought he would have made the move into Football League management. So clearly he must think he can do more at Bromley. So, and they are a very, very efficient team at this level. And again, I there's no way I don't see them making the playoffs. And I think whoever meets them in the playoffs, it's a tough call to beat them.
Paul, can you tell us about your experience of the league game at the Shea, the fantastic 3-2 victory or the terrible 3-2 defeat? What was that like for you?
Well, I didn't get there. About the only game I've missed this season. I was away in Sicily, in Italy, and I was due to. There was a flight that should have got back into Heathrow about 2:30. And it was just about possible to get one of those Grand Central trains out of King's Cross all the way direct to Halifax for about 7:10. But the plane got delayed, didn't land at Heathrow till 5. So even driving, I couldn't have made it. So I was somewhat shocked, shall we say, albeit only listening to the radio in the manner in which we caved in the last quarter of an hour of the game.
I think that radio commentary that night was absolutely legendary on Radio Nottingham.
He's not being sarcastic there either. It was generally really good. Yeah.
Those guys. Is it Mark Stallard on there commentating?
Yeah, Mark's a regular on our show as well.
Yeah,
very good. Played for Bradford City, not too far from you.
Yeah.
In his day, very good pundit. Has a good job as well, so doesn't choose to go down a full-time route of punditry. But he is very good, well liked by Notts fans, and he's also very objective as well.
Yeah, genuinely that night that commentary was just fantastic because you had all the highs of Notts County being 2-0 up and game one, and then just the absolute turnaround was brilliant. That commentary. If you get a chance, listen back. It's brilliant.
Well, I hope his commentary. I normally never hear his commentaries for home games. I don't really hear many for away games. But yeah, he will be in the stand Tuesday night with Charlie Slater, who is who's the main commentator for the local BBC radio network for us.
I do actually remember seeing a lot of. There's obviously another Notts County podcast called Notts County Talk, and they put on their typical Notts, and I think a lot of people agreed with them on that game. But I think from our point of view, it's probably one of them games that will go down in Shaymen folklore. Like we're that good of a game from our point of view, but Yeah, I don't know really what to expect for this game on Tuesday. Now, what is like Notts County's playing style then coming into this game? How will they come into the game?
Well, I don't think there's any secret. We will play, and you will have seen a bit of it, albeit it wasn't the greatest of conditions in the first game, Halifax, and also 2 weeks ago when I was up at Halifax. We will play a possession-based game. It will be a patient build-up, knock the ball around in our own half. As I said, I would be staggered if we do not have the lion's share of possession in the game. Just about every single game, irrespective of whether we win or lose, that's how we play the ball, how we play the game. We stick to that philosophy. So I would expect us to have lots of the ball. Kyle Wotton does a very good job for us. We've mostly this season played 3 at the back. More recently, we've gone to a 4, played 4-2-3-1 with Kyle Wotton up front. Our flair players, if you like, Kel Roberts, you will have obviously heard of, and Ruben Rodriguez. Ruben's not probably in the best of form at the minute. Kel, he's had his injury challenges during his time here, but unquestionably Football League standard player. He's looked good in recent weeks. Yeah,
Cal Roberts. Now, you've heard of a lot of these Notts County players. I remember every time I watched Cal Roberts, he seems a quality player, and like you said, if he didn't have his injury problems, he probably would be in the Football League, wouldn't he?
Well, he was at Newcastle. He was at Newcastle for many years with their academy. He actually did get on the pitch, I think, a couple of times for Newcastle. Look, he's a quality player. We undoubtedly have highly technical and highly skilled players throughout the whole of the team. But football is not an individual game. It's a team sport. And it is the sum of the parts. How many people could name how many Barrow players? How many people could name how many Sutton United players? Those were the teams that went up as champions in each of the last 2 seasons. So, look, it is a team sport. We've got players that people talk about a lot. But, it's all about the sum of the parts and getting the most number of points and getting the top spot.
Yeah. Do you sometimes feel that Football League players who excel in the Football League struggle when they come down to non-league? For example, if a non-league club offers them more money from a Football League side, for example, the Paul Mullin situation when he's left Cambridge to join Wrexham, do you feel they find it harder in the National League when they actually come down?
Well, I guess there's an expectation, isn't there? People talk about the salaries that those players get. They're instantly a focal point for the opposition and a focal point for the home fans. And I guess if you drop down from the Football League to the National League, normally it's strikers scoring goals, isn't it? Normally the big money. I think then there is a weight of expectation on you to score straight away. And that brings with it some challenges. I think, as we've said before, I don't think there is a great deal of difference in the top 10 in the National League and League Two. I think if you look towards the bottom half of the National League, then I think there is a big gulf, even with those teams in the bottom half of League Two. But I think if you look top 8 or 9 in the National League, I think over a 42, 46 game calendar season, if you could promote 9 of those teams, I don't think many, if any, would end up being in the bottom 2 and being relegated the following season. They're all professional. They've got reasonable sized budgets. And sometimes it can be a career choice for the players in the National League. Wages are decent in the National League at the bigger clubs. It's not the case now that, butcher, baker, candlestick maker and all the rest of it, is it? No. Top 10 teams, I think, are all professional. These are all full-time professional footballers playing for clubs who are looking to get into the Football League.
Now, something I wanted to talk about a little bit was obviously the FA Trophy game. What were your thoughts on that game? I believe we actually played a full-strength side. I don't know about Notts County. What was your take on that game?
Well, I think it was relief that it was played. I remember arriving and the rain started coming down, and I was watching the warm-ups, players were careful as to where they were warming up, didn't want to kind of like dig the pitch up. So I think the first thing is relief. The game was played. We are basically playing as a club now 2 games a week till the end of the season. And it would have been difficult for us to accommodate, that game in a midweek. We made 5 or 6 changes, but we've got a decent-sized squad. It was a competitive game, wasn't it? It was a competitive game. And I think certainly for the younger generation of our supporters, I think they were very pleased to get through. Although we've been to Wembley during COVID, we have not been able to travel as fans. So our younger generation of fans have not been able to go and watch us play at Wembley. I've been there a few times watching us win playoff games and getting into the top flight of English football in the late 80s, early 90s. So I think they do view the FA Trophy with some importance. I've got to say, on a personal level, it's a bit of an effort. It's a bit of a stretch, but I can understand for our fan base under 30, 35, then it is a big thing if Notts can get to Wembley, and as such, treat it with some importance. We've now got Wrexham. We're playing that on a Friday night in about 3 weeks' time, I think.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think we really care too much about the FA Trophy as we've previously won it. Yes, it starts to get a little bit more important when you start to get to the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and then obviously you've got the opportunity to go to Wembley. But money, you can get a bit of money, which probably means more to the smaller side in the division like ourselves. But yeah, we don't really give too much notice towards the FA Trophy. Now, when you look at Halifax Town, what do you think? Are you nervous going into this game on Tuesday night?
I wouldn't say nervous. I think that both clubs would understand the importance of the fixture. Maidenhead apart, who seem to be bowling over every team in the top 6. They beat Boreham Wood on Saturday, didn't they? I'm not sure that the teams competing for the playoff places are going to be dropping too many points against clubs placed 10th down to 22nd, 23rd, whatever it is. I suspect the relegation places will largely be done within a matter of a few weeks, and as such, then teams from probably 10th down to 20th or 19th have very little to play for. So I don't see the challenging teams dropping too many points. So as such, matches like Tuesday night are going to adopt increasing significance because these are potentially 6-point swing games, aren't they? We went down to Bromley, lost, got beat 2-1. No real complaints about that. That's a 6-point swing. And clearly, if you look at the positions with ourselves and yourselves, if we'd not let 3 goals in the last 10 minutes, were you down to 10 men, then the table would have a different complexion. So I think, this is an important game. I always like games under lights. I think the players themselves would prefer to play 2 games in a week rather than once a week, not spend so much time on the training ground. It's an important game in terms of shaping how, we and you end up in the playoff picture or top spot.
Yeah. Well, 2 points separate the two sides. Halifax currently sit 4th in the league. Notts currently sit 8th, and that's how tight it is at the top at this moment in time. 2 points separate the sides, and there's 4 places different. It's going to be a really tough game, and I think whoever wins, I think in a way, you probably need to win a little bit more than us. Like, if you basically win, you can go above us and you're straight back in, well, some may say the title race.
Well, I think the onus is always on the home team to make the play, to win the game. The away team, to an extent, waits to see what happens, nick something, whatever. The onus will be on Notts to go for it on Tuesday night. I suspect that we will. I'm sure that Halifax will be very well organised. and I would expect it to be a pretty tight game. And irrespective of how far we or you are off Stockport, I think we're the best part of, 11, 13 points off them at the minute. I think the reality of the situation is you're not going to have one team 10 points clear in 2 weeks' time. I think Boreham Wood will be on the coattails. Chesterfield are having a bit of a blip, but this is not like Stockport or 9 points clear of everybody else. So I think there is going to be pressure on every team in the top 8, 9 for every game. And as we said before, pressure can do different things to different people, when you are in the eye of a storm. And, we've still got to play Stockport. We've got to play Chesterfield twice. We've got to play Boreham Wood at home. We've got to play Solihull away. So we have got games against every team in the top 8 or 9. We've not. I think I'm right in saying we've not played any team in the top 9 twice. Yeah.
I think last season during COVID, Halifax won down there quite well, didn't they? I think it was a lot of
that Jack Earing performance.
Yeah. Was it 2-0 or 2-1? I can't remember.
2-1, I think it was, because Tavon Campbell scored that screamer, didn't he, from outside of the box.
That's it, yeah. So, I think we go down there with a bit of confidence from winning there last year and winning at home. And, have we got our first double of the season yet? I think we have, haven't we?
Dagenham. Dagenham, we did the double.
Yeah, it's a tricky game for us, but I think it can go either way, really, can't it?
Last time I went to Notts County was the first season that Notts got relegated from the Football League, and Notts County defeated us 1-0, and it was boiling hot throughout that full game. Sun was right in your eyes, and I do remember that game. It was a good away day because Notts, in my opinion, is probably one of the most historic stadiums in the league. It's a well-built stadium. It's obviously been in the Premier League, haven't you, in the past? So, the
infrastructure of the club is very good. And all Halifax fans who have been before, and if any are coming down on Tuesday that haven't been before, you are coming to a stadium that could quite easily host Championship football on a regular basis, and is a better stadium than, for instance, Bournemouth in the Premier League. It's bigger. So, and also you get a good view. So in the away end, you're not stuck behind one goal or anything like that. You are down the side of the pitch. Yeah. So you get a good view. You're under shelter. And it's a proper football experience. You can't stand up at our place. I know a lot of places now, like Bromley, you can stand up, but ours is an all-seater stadium, and we would say it's a proper football league ground with commensurate facilities.
What do you think the crowd will be on Tuesday night, Paul?
We got 6 on Saturday, which was obviously terrible conditions, and there was about 100 away fans. I mean, how many fans would you expect to be travelling down from Halifax?
We're quite well supported away from them. We took 800 to Chesterfield, but that was on a Saturday. Yeah, it can change depending on how well we're doing or conditions.
What would you bring, 300-400, something like that?
Yeah, I reckon so.
I'd probably, I think I'd probably expect 500, but
you'll be looking at north of 6. You'll be looking at north of 6. 6.5 maybe. I mean, night games. It was half term, wasn't it, last week? It's not this week.
It is in.
You would be expecting 6.5. I would have thought.
Yeah, right. Be a good crowd. Rob, have you got anything to add?
I just wondered what the general atmosphere is like down there, Paul, at the moment, in terms of, a crowd behind the club from the word go, or does it take a goal or two to get them going, or what would the atmosphere be like, do you think, on Tuesday night?
No, look, it's pretty positive. I think that the challenge we face as a club is that each year we're in this division and don't go back up. It is going to ratchet up a little bit more, or shall we say, fans will become slightly less tolerant each year. With the setup that we have, with the budget that we've had, albeit not on the same standard of Wrexham or Stockport now, the absolute base level for Notts is to be in the playoffs. And really, you're looking second, third, home advantage, and I have to play the first game. We're very strong at home. Our away form is, for a promotion chasing team, you'd probably say average. So we're strong at home, which is always good, because most of your fan base normally only see you at home. So at home, we look pretty comfortable, against Eastleigh. It could have been double figures, if I'm honest, an amount of possession and territory and all of those sorts of things. It was a relatively straightforward performance and straightforward result. So, fans are very much on board with the way the club is trying to do it. But equally, you can't be blind to the fact that were we not to go up this year, that's 3 seasons in this league. And what that would do is turn the screws on at the start of next season. Because this is what tends to happen, isn't it? Matching what you're delivering against expectation.
So what happens in Nottingham regarding how do you get attached to County or Forest, and how does that work out as a youngster in Nottingham? What we are certainly one of the smaller cities to have 2 professional football clubs historically. Bristol would probably be the closest analogy you would have in terms of size of city. A lot of Notts fans are, mine. We go back to the 1880s in my side of the family, but a lot of it is your dad taking you or a family relative taking you. When I was a teenager, Notts got into the top flight 12 months after Forest had won the European Cup. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so then you were in a situation in Nottingham in 1981 where Forest are recently crowned European champions. They've now got 2 top flight football clubs, and Notts regularly beat Forest in the top flight. If you fast forward on 40 years, Notts historically would have said, well, we're a championship club, and if we're doing all right, we might get into the Premier League. We spent the last 20 years in the bottom 2 divisions of English football, and we've slipped 1 below that. Forest have played 20 years without playing 1 single Premier League game. So both clubs are massively underperforming from where they were 3 or 4 decades ago.
Fans go between the 2.
It's Notts' fan base has done remarkably well. When you think we're averaging 6,000 or whatever, 6,500 in the National League. Clearly, there's a COVID bounce, I guess, for all clubs. But if you're looking at it, because on the face of it, you think Forest and you see Notts in National League, you think, I must be an endangered species, But you're looking at roughly a ratio of 3 to 4 to 1, Forest fans to Notts fans. And if you draw a radius, you think of Halifax. If you draw a radius around a 3-4 mile radius around the 2 football grounds, because they're very close together, that balance is a lot more stacked in Notts' favour. Go 10 miles, everyone supports Forest, no one supports Notts. But in the immediate locality of Nottingham, there is a decent sized following of Notts. Maybe 2 Forest, 1 Notts in the inner conurbations, which is quite remarkable, really. But equally, don't forget, Forest have had their own challenges with, think about this: Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, all of those clubs who used to come every weekend to Notts 30, 40 years ago haven't been to Nottingham for a top flight game of football for 33 years now. So
you played Man City, didn't you, not too long ago? I believe in a cup, didn't you?
That was in our Munto era. Yeah, we should have beat Man City. Roberto Mancini and the Galacticos, 2011. And we were winning 1-0, and he had the full team out. So that's a decade ago now. Halifax have had their financial challenges. Notts fundamentally have never really recovered from losing a chairman, Derek Pavis, who appointed Neil Warnock and Sam Allardyce as managers.
Yeah.
And we've had all sorts of financial issues and challenges and owners who have been relatively transient. And that's manifested itself with us, sliding down the greasy pole from having been a regular League One club to becoming a regular League Two club to now having slipped to the National League, which for most of us is unthinkable. But I'm sure it was no different than when Halifax dropped out of the league as well, because you kind of think it can't happen to you because of your previous history and pedigree.
Yeah, it was similar to us, like, because before we folded, etc., we were in the Football League for over 100 years, then we had financial difficulties, and now we're stuck in this league, and we're trying to get our way back up to the Football League. And there's a lot of sides, aren't there, in this league, like Wrexham, Stockport, who've also had their financial difficulties, and they're trying to get back to the Football League.
Yeah, I mean, we had Mark Ives on our show, who's the National League General Manager, about a month ago. It was quite an interesting interview. And he did go on the record as saying he was in active discussions with the Football League to get a third promotion place. And he said it wasn't a long-term objective, it was short to medium term. Look, on the face of it, there's a very strong argument for that, because we're talking about bigger clubs now being in the National League. And I think the National League does have its challenges when it comes to professionalism compared with the English Football League, the EFL. But then again, why wouldn't it? It's a notch below the EFL. The huge challenge the National League are going to have is getting the Football League clubs to vote for one of their family or one extra members of their family every year to be relegated, and that is going to be the big challenge. Whether, and we all talk about these things after we've been relegated, we never talk about them while we're in the Football League. I think there's quite a powerful argument now to have a third division of the EFL.
Yeah.
I think it's quite
Can you give us some top tips for away fans on Tuesday night? Where to park, where the pub is, where the best food is.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Luke can't go in the pub, can he? But so parking's fairly good around Meadow Lane. It's what's called the Cattle Market, which is just over the road and behind the away end. I think that's about £4, something like that. You can pay. You don't need to pre-book it. So lots of spaces there. And literally that is at the back of the away end. There are various hostelries. Navigation is down the bottom corner from the away end. For those of you of a certain persuasion, we have the only Hooters bar in England, believe it or not.
They've been saying that on our forum. That they've been
chicken wings and all that, buffalo sauce and whatever else. That's next to the railway station, and that's a 5-minute walk from the way end. So that's always a good one for away fans to try it, because as I say, it is the only Hooters bar, believe it or not, in the whole of England.
Can you still buy nuclear missile?
Say again?
Can you still buy nuclear missile across the road? Are they still selling those in the old Army Stores place?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure.
I think next to the Cattle Market, they've got some old artifacts and things like that. And last time we were there, you could buy all sorts.
You may have been on a Saturday, right? So they have the market. Yeah. You'll be here midweek, so that will be shut. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we call it the Cattle Market, and there's an auction centre in the centre of it, and all the rest of it. Yeah, so that will probably be shut because it's a night game.
That always amused me last time we're down there, that you shouldn't bring anything to the ground you shouldn't have, but across the road you can actually buy a nuclear missile. It's quite bizarre.
Yeah, it is always one of them away days for us Halifax fans that we do particularly enjoy, like your Chesterfield away games. I think that more or less wraps it up then, Paul. Finally,
very good.
Paul,
Thank you for having me on the show.
What is your score prediction, if you're going to give one?
Look, I think as it's a home game, I would like to think we certainly wouldn't get beat, and I'd like to think, as you've mentioned, we probably need three points, probably a little bit more than you, given we're the home team and we're playing a little bit of catch up at the minute. I think, as I said to you, normally we will have most of the game. I can say that with a certain degree, or most of the possession. I can say that with a certain degree of confidence. I can't necessarily, that certain degree of confidence does not automatically translate to us winning the game, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes on set pieces, we're not always the best. But, you know, I think the thing to, famous last words, there'll be another, massive storm wielding its way in. But I think, what I would say to Halifax fans is that we would not envisage any issues with the pitch or whatever. I know some clubs coming up to Halifax have had late postponements, and you have particular climate, challenges up there, and the rugby league club being on the pitch. We've been all over the ruddy country this year. I've been to King's Lynn, postponed on Boxing Day, an hour before kickoff. I've been to Dover, arrived at the railway station an hour before kickoff, off. Got as far as Peterborough last week, off. So what I can say is, I think you can book your night out in Nottingham, some chicken wings at Hooters, whatever else you want to get up to, and see a game of football and get back home with a fair degree of confidence that it's going to happen.
I think that suits us.
Question there, didn't Paul?
Hey,
you've already the answer to the question there. What's the score going to be? What score are you going for?
Me, what I'm going to score for? We don't tend to win games by big score lines,
Do it again. Come on.
2-1.
To us?
Not.
To Notts.
Yeah. 2-1 Halifax.
Okay.
I'm going to go 3-2 again. Why not?
You'll be
what the exact same circumstance?
The 81st minute, and we'll win 2-1. But we never score late goals, though. By the way, we never score late goals. Only late winner we've scored all season in the league, just taking out that, was at Grimsby. When we won that at Grimsby in the 90th minute. Although Grimsby kind of returned the favour and won 2-1 at our place when they played very well about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Paul, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
No problem.
The best of luck for Tuesday, but
Absolutely.
not too much. Good luck.
All righty. Thank you very much indeed, Luke. Thank you very much, Rob. All the very best for the rest of the season, guys. Yeah, and enjoy Nottingham on Tuesday night.
Cheers. Bye for now.
So that was Paul Mace, the host of the Magpie Circle podcast. I will leave a link in the description if you want to find him there. Now let's move on to a bit about tactics with Halifax, etc. So the first thing is something that I wanted to talk about a little bit was the fans. Now, how much are the fans from Halifax's point of view going to be important on Tuesday's night?
I think it makes a real difference, a good start to the game, a good atmosphere. If the drum goes down there, brilliant. And I think it just it sets the expectation for the evening, doesn't it? And I think as soon as everybody gets going, I think sometimes away games are a bit more special than the home games because we're all in one place and people get going with the noise and everybody joins in. So I think it'd be cracking on Tuesday night.
Yeah, we'll just quickly move over to the chat because I know a lot of people have been eager to put things in the chat and we haven't been able to get onto that yet. So, Freddie Eastwood's, hi Luke, I think 2-3 Halifax, Waters 2, Warburton 1, Waters last minute, Robert and 1 and Rodriguez. So, 2 players that Paul just mentioned for Notts as well. We've also got a few more come in as well. Jim's come on and said, hi Luke, the Super Shaymen to win 2-0. Billy bullet header, Waters and Aaron Martin getting. Let's hope so. I believe we've got any more. I think Jim's come back again. Hi, Rob. What do you think for Tuesday, mate?
I reckon 3-2 to the Shaymen again, and I think it'd be a cracking away night, a bit like Grimsby years ago when we won 1-0. I fancy a 3-2 down there with a really good atmosphere, a good drum going. A bit of sulphur in the air, a few flags about. Brilliant atmosphere. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. These away games are probably my favourite as a Halifax fan. The fairly local away days for me personally, like your Notts Counties, your Chesterfields, and these guys on the screen here, they're going to be extremely important. So hopefully we can come in numbers on Tuesday night. So, for anyone wondering regarding ticket prices, etc., I do believe I've got it up here for anyone who wants to know. Paul suggested places for you to go, so we won't move on to that. But these are tickets. I think you have to book via that ticket system. I know Huddersfield Town do it, and it's a little dodgy. To be honest, quite hard to book your tickets, etc. I think Chesterfield were the same. You can buy tickets on the day, but I think it saves you a bit of money. I think it's £2 or something. It saves you if you pay in advance. So 18s to 21 years. £14, adults £20, seniors 65 and over, so that's concessions, that's £14. Under 12 is £1, that's very convenient. Under 16 is £5, that's me. Under 18 is £7. So quite reasonable prices, would you say, Rob?
Yeah, it's not bad really. It's probably about average at the moment, isn't it? So,
yeah.
And getting youngsters in for £1 is brilliant. So can't knock that at all.
Yeah. Oh, so we'll just check. Don't worry, we will be in the Hooters. I'm sure you will be. So, yeah, the fans are going to be extremely important, aren't they, on Tuesday night?
Oh yeah, it makes a huge difference to the evening. And as I say, get there, get the flags out, get the drum going.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll be a cracking atmosphere. Perhaps like Chesterfield. That was a great day out.
I love that. And to be honest, even when I went to like Dagenham away, I know we took about 170 went or so, and that's pretty impressive, I feel, for the distance, etc. It's probably like 1 in 15 people averaging a home attendance has probably went to that game. I did actually ask online predictions for numbers. So I think that Ethan Frank Water said 600. I do hope so. Jake Smith has said 5 to 6 to 700, so between 5 and 700 realistically. Cameron Gibbs has said 800. I don't know about that, but you never know. Darren Gibbon has said 280. I'd probably expect a little bit more than that. Alfie has said 500. Alexander Exley said, I hope 5 to 600. So yeah, it's between that like 4 to 600 probably mark. I'd probably expect about, I don't really know, 4 to 500 probably. You said 3 to 400, I believe, didn't you, Bob?
Yeah, that was similar to we took to Grimsby over Christmas. We didn't take that many. I know it was live on TV that day, but a few years ago, I think we took a lot more. But Tuesday night, it's bad weather as well. It can put people off. It's nice to hear that there's lesser risk of the pitch down there because we want people to go if possible. But Tuesday nights can be difficult, and we're going to set up a bit earlier as well just to avoid the rush hour traffic because that can be fun at times.
Yeah, I think we'll take a few more than we did to Grimsby because Grimsby, it was also the ticketing system as well. When we had that Grimsby game, you had to pay in advance, and there's a lot of Halifax fans who aren't very techie, so they probably wanted to pay on the day, and they couldn't manage to. It was also very difficult to get tickets as well. I know we had a few problems. And obviously, it was on BT Sport as well. But I remember that Chesterfield game a couple of seasons ago on a Tuesday night. I believe we took 5 to 600. I think it was 5. Was it 627 or so? I think it was something like that. We took a few seasons ago, and that was on a Tuesday night. And Notts was quite an attractable away day because it's such a big stadium, etc. So, yeah. I think someone's come on and said they need to put more buses on. Yeah, there's all the buses are full at this moment in time. We'll let you know on the forum if there's any news on extra buses, etc. I think that more or less wraps up that. So yeah, let's move a bit onto the more tactic side of this match. So the first thing we're going to talk about, potentially returning Greeny and Slew. Have we missed them, Rob?
Oh, absolutely. I think Green's a huge loss for us. He was playing really well at the time he got injured. I suspect he might be a little while longer before he's available. And I think Slew was on the bench last time. He can turn a game. He scored some great goals down at Torquay, springs to mind. He whacked one in from outside the box, didn't he? And incredible goal that was down there. So I think Slew's more likely to return than Green at the moment. But Green's had such a good season up to now.
Yeah. He's been crucial. I think we have missed him. But Summerfield, you can't knock him most recently. Like, he's fitted into that side perfectly. I know a lot of people had doubts about him playing that Greeny role, but he's fitted into it perfectly. And Green obviously coming back from a month injury, and Wild doesn't particularly like to rush people back because when he does, you have the Stenson incident, etc. Slew, though, he offers something different, and I think that's what we need in a way against a good Notts County side. We know the goal that he scored in the previous game against Notts County. He loves them outside them at them fluky goals that he scores outside of the box, and it's not just his goal scoring; it's his plays, good at setting players up, and yeah, they're two crucial players. You've also liked of Spence coming back from injury. I believe he might actually start because he came on against Notts County and apparently had a brilliant game. What do you think his performance was like, Rob?
Yeah, I think Spence is a real quality player, and like Green, he can turn a game, and I think he's got a really bright future. He's going to go a long way in football, I'm certain. And players like this are really, really good for us when they're on form and playing.
Yeah.
And it makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's that icing on the cake in it, realistically, when you're thinking of these players. Now, if anyone wants to get in the chat and leave their thoughts on this game, please get in there. And yeah, we'll move on to the next topic now. These three, the new signings: Zach Deanley. I couldn't find a picture of him in a Halifax shirt. Aaron Martin and Luke Thomas. Now, three players that I particularly am interested to see play a little bit more. Like Aaron Martin, he's been getting the game time. I know he played at Dagenham and against Bowen Wood. You've got Luke Thomas, not really particularly got much game time yet. And then you've got Zach Deanley as well, who's highly rated. In your opinion, do you think you'd start any of these players?
I think Aaron Martin's fantastic. He's really up for it, isn't he? He's the sort of person you don't want to meet in the supermarket aisles, you know what I mean? Because you never get past him, would you? He's, incredible strength, and, he goes for it big time. So I think he's a real key signing, and I think we've got a real opportunity to do something with him for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Really good. And I believe he played at Brighouse and Guiseley as well, didn't he, before that? The others I've not seen so much of. As you say, they've had limited opportunities up to now, especially with postponements. But I'd be surprised if Martin doesn't get a goal or two before too long.
Yeah, he's. I know. I watched one of his interviews, his signing interview that he did, and what I did particularly like to hear was him saying, "I just wish I could score and jump into that crowd." And they're the players that I particularly like to watch. The players that care about the club and want to be involved in that atmosphere, and particularly want to be part of that journey. What's your thoughts on that?
Absolutely, yeah. I think the team spirit is clearly very good at the club, and I think everybody's playing in the same direction, and there's clearly a very good atmosphere there with all the players, and every one of them, I think, even with it links to the crowd, it's not one of those things where it's us and them. The players are very much playing for the supporters, and the supporters are very much behind all the players. It's really good this season. Yeah,
it's definitely a really positive season. Luke Thomas, we haven't seen too much of him. However, he's on loan from Preston. I think he's at attacking midfield position. So is he going to be dropped for Matty Warburton? Probably not at this moment in time, but change of formation. I think what I'm happy to see this season, it feels like we've got depth. Like, we're going to move on to lineups, etc. in a second. And I found when I predicted this lineup earlier today, I found it really hard to predict. So obviously with players coming back from injury, and you don't know which players are going to start, etc. in this game. And I think that's what I like to see compared to like your previous seasons. Like last season, we had a lot of big injury crisis with Jake Hyde, Kevin Green, Luke Summerfield. Key players got injured and we suffered badly from it. Previous season, that obviously cost us as well. We had that really bad run where we had to bring in some new players. Now, you're looking into this season, and Well likes to keep quite a small squad, but it feels like we've got depth in every area. Like, you're thinking of attacking midfielders. We've got Matty Warburton, but then you've got the likes of Luke Thomas. You're thinking of wingers, Jamie Allen. You've got Billy Waters. You've got Jordan Slew. I'm sure Zach Deanley could probably play on the wing. every position, it feels like we've got a lot of depth. Like the only position that I particularly wouldn't want to lose was probably that goalkeeper position. And I think we probably struggle without the likes of Sam Johnson. But I think every other position we've got a very good replacement. So yeah, I'd probably start Aaron Martin in this game because he's had that game time. Zach Deanley, though, I'm sure he has a lot of promise and a lot to offer as well. Who would you start then? Aaron Martin? Would you start anyone else?
I would start Aaron Martin, but if you think back to the Dagenham game, we went down there, we had quite a few changes and people in that had not played too many games. That first half down there was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it was the best first half of any game this season.
Yeah, it was great.
And that was some players that have not played too many times. So clearly there's a squad there full of talent. And, the manager's got full confidence in the players and he can chop and change. And, I looked at that team going down there and I thought, gosh, there's not a lot of players played a lot of time here, but they were brilliant against Dagenham. So
looked like they've been playing together for years, didn't they? Like they've been it's like that.
Great, really good.
Yeah. So we'll move on to this is my predicted lineup for Tuesday's game. Now it's a little controversial. Niall Maher being injured. I did actually do this on FanHub. I will leave a link in the description for FanHub. We're trying to get as many of you as possible on there. You can log all your away games and your home games you can go to. You can predict lineups. You can do more everything on this app. And it's a great app to log all your games. And we want to try boost the club's overall morale through this app. For example, you have a league table with all the clubs. I believe there's 120 clubs on this. I believe we're something like, I think we're in the 80s at the minute. However, we haven't really promoted it too much. I know we were in the 50s not long ago and it sort of dropped. But you've got the likes of Stockport. I know they have a fan hub and they've nearly got, I think they're second on the league standings. I know who's obviously watching this, the highest for Halifax is Jim, and I believe he's on 83%, I think, and that's based on how many away games he goes to and home games that he's logged, etc. I must be honest, I forgot to log a lot of my away games that I'm going to. I'm hoping to start logging a few more after this Tuesday night game. But yeah, this lineup though, I'm starting Jordan Slew, I'm starting Billy Waters, Aaron Martin, Luke Summerfield, Matty Warburton, Kane Spence, Tyrell Warren, Tom Bradbury, Niall Maher, Jack Senior, and Sam Johnson in net.
Yeah, it's good. I think Warren had an exceptional game down at Dagenham. That second half when they came, got a goal back, and they were really going for it. And he had an exceptional game down there. So, he's one of those players that I don't think played an awful lot in the season, but he's come in and he's done a great job there. But I think what you're suggesting there is quite a strong lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, Jim agrees with me. He came on and said 4-3-3, and this was before I actually presented it. So it's great to see that other fans agree with what I'm actually saying. Yeah, to me it seems a strong lineup, but Martin Woods is obviously injured. I could see the likes of Harvey Gilmore coming in, but Kane Spence did brilliantly against Notts County in the home fixture. So he needs to get straight back in the side. Luke Summerfield, he warrants a place in the starting lineup. And Matty Warburton playing in that midfield position, I think he'll do a good job in that attacking role. You've also got Jordan Slew, maybe not, because he's just coming back from injury. You wouldn't want to risk him. He didn't actually come on, I believe, against Notts County. He didn't actually come on. Aaron Martin doing well, and Billy Waters as well. You've got to think, the likes of Jamie Allen, I know did he win against Dagenham? He had a particularly brilliant game against Dagenham. We got a penalty, didn't we, against Dagenham? Because I believe he won it, didn't they?
No, not Dagenham didn't get a penalty. No,
I thought it was Matty won it. Oh no,
Billy
we didn't
scored the third.
Yeah, but I know he won. I know he won a lot of free kicks in that game, and some may feel that he deserves a start in the lineup. Defensively, Jesse Deborah comes out of the starting lineup. What are your thoughts on that?
I think he's a great player. He's very solid. He's fully committed. I think he's improved as the season's gone on.
Yeah.
I think any of those players can interchange. And, Maher coming back, I think will be good if he's fit. He's been off for a few games. But yeah, it could be anybody there. I think that they all do a great job.
Yeah. I was debating whether to start Mar, but then he's the club captain. I think you need that against the tough Notts County side. However, I wouldn't be disappointed to see Jesse Deborah start with Tom Bradbury. But yeah, I think any of them three, the two of the three, any of them to start, I wouldn't be too bothered out of them three who start. Jack Senior and Tyler Warren as the wing backs. I don't think you can really change that. I don't know, but is it just FA Trophy games where J Ben's red carded? Obviously, we're out of it now, but is J Ben out for league games after that red card?
I believe so, yeah. I think so.
Mm-hmm. So he can't start anyway. And to be honest, I'd probably rather have Tyler Warren or Jack Senior against a more difficult side and a more established side like Notts County, who are definitely going to be strong. You don't really want J Ben up against a quality winger like, let's say, that Ruben Rodriguez, because he's still only young. I'd rather have an experienced winger. Wing back at the wing back. So, yeah, that most concludes lineups. Now, before we do finish today's episode, I've actually got this to show everyone for you watching. We're going to be starting some fan cams at the Shay where I basically interview fans before the game, and then we'll put it on our YouTube channel. We'll also include them in our vlog, etc., and then hopefully after the game as well. I'm hoping to get this at Notts County. So if any fans who are watching see me, just come up to me and I'll interview you before your game and get your take on the game. Rob, have you got anything to add?
Yeah, we've got some badges.
Mm-hmm.
They're available under the East Stand. They're fantastic. And we're getting some enamel ones as well. Mm-hmm. So these are £1, and we can get some enamel ones that are £3, but they're going to be really, really good. That's based on what people have said to us, said they want them. So we're doing stuff. Merchandise always available. It's going to be a cracking game on Tuesday night, though. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Let us know suggestions for the Supporters Club merchandise, etc. I'm sure Rob or Phil would love to hear them. We've got some great things on this channel coming out in the next few weeks, like the fan cam, etc. Also, leave us suggestions on video ideas as well. I've asked for people for that. I think someone said fan stories, which sounds very interesting. And we'll try do a video on that very, very soon. That more or less concludes today's episode. Paul, thank you for coming on if you're still here. Rob, I really do appreciate you coming on as well tonight on your Sunday evening. I'm hoping to get another podcast out for Wednesday where we react to the Notts County game, and we should hopefully be getting another preview as well out on Saturday for that Barnet game. I'm looking to try find a Barnet supporter who would take the time out to come on. So yeah, thank you to everyone that's joined us tonight. We do really appreciate your support. Leave your score predictions in the comments. Get us out there, share us, leave your thoughts on the interviews on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. And yeah, bye for now.
Come on, Shaymen.